Hi, and welcome to another video brought to you by PLCGurus.NET. So if you've been following along, this will be the fifth installment in our Studio 5000 Essentials video series. So I do highly recommend, if you haven't done so, to watch all of the preceding videos so you're right up to speed with exactly where we're at here. Okay, so what I wanted to do today is look at online editing. So up until this point, what we've been doing is we've been building our ladder logic offline, and then once we're complete, we've gone ahead and downloaded our project into the controller. So I want to show you today that this isn't always what we want to do. In fact, if you're just making minor edits to existing machinery in the field, downloading to that machinery is not necessarily the ideal way to go about making modifications, because it's going to stop whatever process or machinery that you're downloading to. So online editing is really a go-to mechanism to make minor alterations or test things while things are running, okay? So let's just quickly go back online with our controller. We'll just click go online. And we can do that once we have a path defined, okay? Okay, so you can see we're online. So maybe what we'll do is we'll add another output pilot light that tells us when the motor is off or not running. So we'll say it's like a red pilot light you can think of. If the motor's off, it's a red pilot light and our display will turn on, or a panel. Okay. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go up here and click the add rung instruction. And you can see that right away kicks me into an online editing type mode. Okay. So from there, I'm going to go ahead and add an XIO, examine if off instruction, and I want to monitor when this is not on. I want to turn a red light on, say, or another pilot light that says the motor is off. Okay, remember that we can go ahead and just drag the tag name by highlighting it and clicking, holding, and dragging it over. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and add an output instruction. And again here, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new tag. In the last video we talked about aliasing, so we're going to go ahead and create an alias tag straight away. So we'll call this, I don't know, motor off. And this is our motor not running pilot light. Why not? And for the type, we want to make sure that we select the alias type. And then under alias 4, we're going to go ahead and drill down to our slot 4 output module here. So I'm going to hit the little drop down here, go to my local 4 output word here, and you can see here we're interested in the data word. That's the actual I/O points we want to access, and data 0. And I want to go ahead this time and assign output point 1. So we're going to assume that our red pilot light is wired into output terminal 1 on this slot 4 module. And then we'll click create. Okay, it's very easy to see when you have an online edit going on here, because you can see these little letters, these little I's happening in the rung. So I want to go ahead and accept these pending run edits. So I want to click the check mark here. Do I want to accept? Yes. And now I want to test these program edits. So let's go ahead and test these edits. And we'll click yes. So now I can actually test these edits without actually committing anything to the processor yet. So if we wanted to, you could very well do that. To finalize the edits, what we want to do now is just assemble these accepted program edits and click this check mark. So it's a 3-step process. And maybe in the next edit, I'll show you a much quicker one. If you know you just want to commit these changes straight away, there is this one icon here. You can see it's grayed out at this point, but this will assemble, compile, and commit all of your edits in one fell swoop. All right, so let's go ahead and check if our logic works. I want to go ahead and hit my stop push button, and again, that's wired into input 1. So I'm going to go ahead and toggle that guy. And I'm now pressing the stop button and releasing. You can see here that our stop light now turns on, indicating that our motor is not running. Okay, so let's go ahead now and start our motor back up. So I'm going to go ahead and toggle our start push button. Okay, so let's get a little fancier here. So let's go ahead and add a couple more inputs while we're online. So what I want to do is I want to add an auto manual selector, okay, to these rungs. And then I want to add another push button that when we're in manual mode, we can go ahead and test the outputs or the lights of our machine, okay? So bear with me. So let's go ahead to initiate an edit to this rung. I'm going to double click the rung, and then I'm going to add an XIC, and I'm going to create a new tag. And we're going to call this auto mode selector. And this is the auto mode selector switch. Okay, and again, we're going to create it as an alias tag. And this time, let's go ahead and assign this to, well, which ones haven't we used yet? So we've used 0, 1. So let's go ahead and assign this to 2. Data, 1. And bit 2. Okay. Great. Okay, so I'm not done yet because I said that in manual mode, we wanted to go ahead and just have a push button that will push to test this light, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and add a branch rung now here, and I want to branch the entire thing. Actually, we'll branch it to here. So the stop button will still function, okay? And I'm going to create a new tag. We're going to call this manual mode selector. Manual, we'll give it a description, manual mode selector switch. Okay, and we're going to create it as an alias, of course. And we're going to point this to the next available input. So let's just drill down to our data word here. And we can see the next available one not used is 3. So let's go ahead and do that and click create. Okay, now we're going to need a button that will function as our push to test button. Okay, so I'm going to drag that down here. I'm going to create a new tag, and I'm going to call it push to test PB. So this is our push to test push button. And again, we're going to create it as an alias. And let's go to the next available input point, not used on our input module. And that'll be 4. And click create. Okay, so you can see here I've added some logic here now, some conditional logic. All right, you know what? I'm going to put this inside just because we're creating a push to test. It's not really critical. I just want to show you how this workflow typically works. Okay, so this time I want to continue my edits so I can actually do multiple edits at a time here. Okay, so you can see I have an edit going on here, and you can see right below that it shows you what the existing rung currently running in the controller is before I started those edits. Do you see that? Okay, good. So I'm going to go ahead and initiate an edit on this rung as well, because we want this to work in auto mode. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just drag and drop our auto selector here. I'm going to go ahead and add my branch level now. I'm going to go ahead and, you know what, I'm going to copy and paste these two things. So I'm going to go ahead and select the first one. I'm going to hit Control and select the second one. And I'm going to hit Control C. Now I'm just going to select the bottom piece of my rung and Control V. And I can paste those tags in here. Okay, so you can go individually into each rung and run through the, accept, test, compile for each individual one. But I did want to show you this guy over here, which is finalize all the edits in the program. So let's go ahead and click that, and we can assemble everything that we've done so far in the program. So let's do that. Finalize, yes. And you can see that it committed all of those edits with just one button click. So if you're fairly confident in what you're doing, it's a much easier way to go. Okay, so you can see straight away that our motor pilot light stopped or turned off, okay? Because now we have additional ANDed logic in the rung here. So let's go ahead and toggle our auto selector on. Okay, our auto selector on, and you notice now that our motor off turned on, okay? Let's go ahead and start our motor again. So I'm going to toggle our start button. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn off the motor by changing the mode. If this was a 2 or 3 position selector switch, I would be dropping out of auto, into manual. Okay, and now you can see both lights have turned off now because I'm in manual. And I want to go ahead and hit my push to test light. So you can see both outputs turn on with my push to test. I'm pushing my push to test light on. And notice the motor running pilot light and motor not running pilot light will only turn on while I'm maintaining this push button because we haven't provided any seal-in mechanism. Okay? So I hope shows you at least how you can go about editing and doing online edits in a Studio 5000 ControlLogix environment. Please do subscribe to our channel, and if you like this video, please give us a like down below. Quick plug for our blog site, head on over to PLCGurus.NET at https://PLCGurus.NET. Become an active member in our community, join our forums, and thank you for watching.